Hi everyone, welcome to GreenMonk TV. We're here at the Smart Grids Europe conference, and with me I have Pascal Julienne, who is the European President of BPL Global. Pascal, the smart grids are kind of new and there's a lot of vaporware out there, but you tell me you actually have a product in the smart grid sector, is that right?
Well, good morning and thank you for being here. Yes, smart is quite new and there's a lot of vaporware out there. But BPL Global started 5 years ago already, and we built a very robust, scalable platform that allows us to deal with issues in the smart grid sector. So in the United States we have several thousands, tens of thousands of devices connected to our platform to better manage power in one of the largest distribution networks in the US. In fact, I can name it, it's First Energy, and it's the largest company in the US.
So first, your product is a product to help utility companies manage their customers, is that correct?
You know, the way the utilities work in the US is not exactly the same way as in Europe. Usually they are integrated. It means that the distributor also does retail, and that is not the case in most of European countries.
Yep.
So in the US, it's important for the distributor, who is also the retailer, to better manage the load on its network.
Yep.
If you can curtail load, if you can shed load in a smart way, which really is a smart grid, you will defer investment or reduce your investment and your capital spending, but you will also be able to produce what's called megawatt savings.
Yep.
And savings in the US is worth money. Now, Europe is not at the same stage, but time will come when the question will be asked, what are we doing to balance the load on the distribution network, and how are we going to do it? And I think this is coming in the next 1, 2 years, 3 years max. We have other projects in Europe, and because it's a different field of activity, different flavor as in the US, we tackle more the same issues from energy management awareness. So we deploy solutions inside homes, but inside housing councils. So we don't want to have just an apartment view. We want to have a full city district view. And the landlord or the housing council can better manage how it delivers its power to the homeowner.
So you're giving visibility to building managers, homeowners, large housing estates of energy consumption by buildings.
That's what we do most in Europe, because, like I said, the regulation being different, you cannot necessarily do load management as you would do it in the US. So yes, in Europe we give this visibility, but it goes beyond visibility because it's got smart rules and smart alarms. So for instance, if a housing council sees that on one building energy usage is higher than in another building, he can ask himself the question, what's going on in that building? Why is it that it is like this? And through better working with the people, handle that. And actually, you know, Europe is made of millions of multi-dwelling units. They were built after the war. And there is, you know, a large plan of the European Union is to renovate those buildings or make them energy efficient. Mm-hmm. Now, if we were to spend the money to rebuild or refurbish these millions and millions of apartments, the amount of money to be spent is astronomical. It's billions and billions and billions of euros. You can get your 20% savings, but just improving energy awareness inside those buildings. And the expenditures per apartment is just a few $100 or a few €100. Where if you refurbish, you're talking about 10, 20, 30,000 euros per home. So we believe that while we're not advocating that we should not renovate or make better building, but we certainly say that it's not the only answer. Another answer is better delivery of the energy, better efficiency in how you deliver the energy, and better usage of the energy by the homeowners, by the landlord, by the city. And that's what we do in some of the European countries. We also work with some of the European utilities, and we have some projects that are more about integrating different sources of energy, like your photovoltaic or your wind or battery power, and bring that onto the grid in a smart way.
Okay.
You may not have sun when you need power, And you may have sun when you don't need power. And that's always a big question. What do you do with that sun-generated power? Today, on most of the EU grid, it is not an issue because produce as much as you can, put it on.
Yep.
But time will change because the grid can only sustain so much.
Yep.
So at some point, delivering that power at the right time is what matters.
Yep.
Not just making the power, but delivering it at the right time. And we have tools to help do this. It's what we call integrated distributed energy resource management,
okay,
where we can measure all those resources and then bring that onto the grid at the right moment, the right time.
So you're matching supply and demand?
To match supply and demand, and I guess to do it in a smarter way, not just dump it onto the network.
Yeah, great. And of course, as you match the supply and demand curves, you make the grid more stable, which allows greater penetration of renewables onto the system.
Yes, this the unbalance of the grid, the unbalance on the phase, the voltage unbalance, the harmonic unbalance, the reactive power that will be created by all these installations coming into the grid, is a large issue.
Yep.
And it will need to be managed more and more finely.
Yep.
So while we talk about smart grid, quote unquote, being smart meter, that is a very tiny piece of the equation. And actually, I don't advocate smart meters. I know that the EU law says put in smart meters, but the problems that are ahead of us are much greater than just measuring power used by the user in terms of how you smartly manage the grid.
Cool. Pascal, that's been great. Thanks a million for coming on the show.
Yeah, very welcome.